After I read what I liked from Tony, I sent him what I thought. I sent him, it was Panther Fast 2018. And he sent back and he goes, yeah, it looks solid. Just remember, X, Y, and Z, like build your own house. And so, we kind of ran with our model of sprint day, non-sprint day. I saw Tony previously a week or two ago talk about performance day and fundamental day. I love that description. Our guys understand what sprint and non-sprint is, so we'll probably continue to use that. But if you're looking for probably better language, performance and fundamental is probably helps you understand. I think some people got this belief that a non-sprint day is like where everyone just goes out there and walks around. That's not true. We're talking about max velocity, high CNS stuff. So again, I pulled a 5-day training chart from Charlie Francis, of Monday max intensity, Tuesday what he called tempo, then Wednesday max intensity, Thursday, then Friday, and then you can see no training on Saturday and Sunday. So we kind of adopted that model, but put it into a football perspective for our guys. So Monday for us is a sprint day, and I'll explain how we do that. Tuesday is a non-max velocity sprint day. We're going to have a traditional football practice. It's going to be non-traditional to some of you, but it's going to look more like a regular football practice, but we're not going to be in pads. And then Wednesday is going to be a padded, our only full padded practice of the week. But we're going to do it a little different. And then Thursday is going to be our traditional, walk through game prep day. And then Friday's game day. It's got to be a sprint day. I mean, that's what everything should be leading up towards. Too many coaches, in my opinion, want Tuesday and Wednesday to be dynamite. I want Friday to be dynamite. If Tuesday's like shit, I'm glad, because now we can figure out and correct it. I have film. Hey, this is why this is like shit. Every time you're stepping with the wrong foot. If this is how we play Friday, then you can't play because we're not going to execute. And then they watch the film like, Coach, I didn't know I was doing that. Well, I'm glad Tuesday we figured that out instead of Friday night on the sideline. Okay. And then Saturday and Sunday for us are off. We don't have this voluntary, go out and run and shake everything out and do all that. We don't weight lift and bring them in and watch film. And so I'm going to get into that. Some of this is things I've talked about before. And so I'll go through that a little bit faster. But so for us, Monday is our film and install, since we didn't have any film on the weekends. Now we're communicating via cell phone through Huddle and such all weekend with our guys. Not all weekend, generally on maybe a little bit on Saturday, but on Sunday with specific things, and we send them things, and I'll get to that. So when we come in on Monday, we have previous week's corrections, what we did well and what we didn't do well, and then what our game plan is for upcoming opponents. We try to keep this the same way. We try to be switching like every 10, 15 minutes. We don't set into a 2-hour film session where half the guys are falling asleep because they stayed up late on the weekends and things like that. Then we do RPR, flexible performance reset, neurological reboot of the body, get you performing right. There's tons of stuff out there. I think we still have that hour and a half Tyler and I did with a few other guys on the basis of RPR. And then there's videos, there's testimonials from NFL strength coaches. There's all kinds of stuff out there that you can look that up. And then we do speed drills. So we're always working on our mechanics. I was listening to the thing Chris and Dan did with Tyler last week, I think, today actually. And, they were Chris was talking about the better your mechanics are, the more efficient you are. The more efficient you are, the less energy you're going to use. So if I can teach my linemen to be more efficient in their running mechanics, they're going to use less energy out on the field, which is going to make them a better lineman. They're going to be faster and they're going to be more efficient, and they're going to be able to play longer because of that. And then we time sprints and we record, rank, and publish. During the football season, we're usually in that 40s and 10-yard flies. We try to keep it consistent so we can have a good understanding of where they are, where their CNS is. A couple things that I'm looking at, and I need to do it tonight, but I downloaded a tap test on your phone for your CNS. So I did a pretty heavy leg workout on Tuesday with another guy, and I did the tap test, and I was at 34 in 5 seconds. My wife was at 40 because she had no stress. And then a day later, my tap test was 38. So the next day, 24 hours later, I was up to 38, doing it the same way. And it can be a way to see where your guy's recovery is. The other thing is the vertical jump. We got our vertical jump mat, late end of the football season this year. But I plan on using it as have a base. Normally this guy's a 24 inch on the vertical jump. Today he's at 18. Well, he doesn't need to be sprinting if he's at 18, especially, maybe had a huge game, maybe, whatever the scenario is. So you got to have an idea of where your guys are at in their recovery. Instead of just
Brad, I was going to mention that I love the idea, first of all, of taking Saturday and Sunday off. I know that goes against tradition, and it's kind of a religion of football to bring your kids in on Saturday morning. But by not bringing them in, not only are they getting rest and mentally refreshed, but you're able to have a great sprint session on Monday. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So our guys are here or there, our guys they may have tweaked a little something here or whatever. And in RPR, we can usually fix it and they're able to practice Tuesday, but I have no problem holding them out of Monday if they don't feel right. Right. And there's enough trust, and our guys understand we're not out to kill them, that they're not making stuff up. That's the other thing about going to a sprint-based approach. Guys will quit making stuff up about why they can't practice. If they can't practice, there's a legitimate reason. And the more you listen to that, the healthier they're going to be, and you're going to get some honesty from them, and sometimes you have to be the guy that says, hey man, like you're way slow today. Yeah, coach, because he is your tough guy that doesn't want to sit out. And as soon as you start investigating, you're like, what's going on? Man, ever since last night, my glutes all, and it's like, hey man, let's figure out what we can do. Let's set these other two out. I want to know, this will make you better for tomorrow. And they start to understand. And next thing you know, it's performance based and not just this bullshit toughness thing that we all get wrapped up into. So here's just a short video of our belly breathing. This is not going to be on any football recruiting video at the college level in the history of time. This is a 3-second clip of our guys on Monday laying down with the lights off in our gym, belly breathing. Socially distanced. This is from 2 years ago, but we knew what was up. Quiet, completely quiet. I'll have them do 15 belly breaths. 15. Oop, let me go back. If I can play that again. We are resetting our central nervous system. The kids understand you care about them when you're doing stuff like this. Like I said, is this gonna, you start talking about public perception and things like that. I'll get into more of that later, but yeah, you start putting this video out there, it really starts pissing people off. They start calling you soft until you beat their ass on Friday night. Then we run time sprints. So here's what it looks like in our hallway. This was, and that's the free lap. Now name a 110, a gas, or anything that looks like that, and guys are pushing it like that. That's our clipboard, and I've got it. If you either go on the TFC website, or I've got a website with the teaching to the test, data-driven speed training that Tony and I did. We go into all this depth of tracking all this stuff and figuring out where guys are at and all that stuff through there. So that's what our Monday looks like, and then we go home. And then usually my other assistant and I, we get in the car and we go to our lower level games because we want to make sure they understand we care about them too. So then Tuesday for us, helmets only, again, which is crazy because the traditional is you're in pads on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's your hitting days, but not us, because we sprinted on Monday. We're going to have one of those, low CNS days where we're going to have a traditional football practice where we go through fundamentals and special teams and 7-on-7 and things like that with just helmets. No conditioning. We're still going to rest. We work on things like our fake punts. We're empty on punt, our swinging gait, things like that don't take pads. We have a little bit longer team period because we're going against hand shields. We have a quick whistle on that. We're checking fundamentals, first step, all that type of stuff that we're fitting in the right way. And then we have short defensive team sessions all the time. My goal is to piss our defense off all week in practice by never letting them loose. I don't ever want to let them loose. If I see that they're reading the opponent's best plays correctly in a few plays, then we're done. We either might go to number twos or we may just be done. And then Wednesday is our sprint day. So when I talked about, we carry our pads out to practice. That's a free lap timer. We've got the Bluetooth chip, so I don't have to set up the relay coach anymore. We upgraded this past year. It's nice because the kids can wear those chips. It goes right to my phone. We'll start with the max velocity sprint period, kickoff, kick return, things like that are great. Well, we're going to maybe do 2 reps, max speed on air. And then we'll get into some individual stuff. If you watch the first sprint one, I've got some videos of us doing running back runs and things like that. But you could free lap time a go route, figure out who your fastest dude is. Who's my fastest puller to the edge if I'm a buck sweep team, something like that. Who's my fastest linebacker blitzer off the edge? Who can backpedal, turn, and run the fastest? And you can time all those things and change, the environment through that time. And then we alternate high and low intensity periods. For example, if we have an inside run period, we're not going to go get 20 seconds of rest and then go right into, a beat the hell out of them period again. We might follow that with an alignment formation recognition. Maybe we've added a couple offensive wrinkles, or maybe we're just going to have a quick 2-3 minutes where we're going to go through all of our formations, and then our defense has to align to all those formations quickly, and that's a period, or maybe we're installing a new concept. And so we're doing more of a walkthrough. That's how you alternate, and that's how you can recover, and not just start practice at this energy level, and by the end, we're all the way here. And then we have a short offensive team period. I'll give you some examples, and a short defensive team period. We don't do a lot of team, especially with a small school. You start doing tons and tons of team, you get a false sense that you're good because your scouts aren't very good, and you give them more opportunity for injury. So here's some examples. I haven't shared this stuff with anybody, but the diagrams from Derek Hansen. He wrote an article a few years ago on this kind of a high-low concept. But an example of our team offense may just be our first 6-play script, and that's all we run. So our guys are running a 6-play script, and we better score every time. Because this is how we're opening the game. We may do a split set. This is something we're going to try this year, where maybe you run 4 plays. Then you give them a longer rest. Maybe it's like a timeout or a penalty. And then you give them 3 plays, and then you give them a longer rest. And you can see how the velocity stays higher on each of the reps, like Tony's talking about. We're not draining the system. We're allowing our guys to use that speed without tearing them up. Or we might do situations. So this is one my offensive coordinator came up with this offseason, because we're always tweaking. We put the ball on the minus 40. We've got to score 6 or less plays. Then we're going to get the 2-point conversion. We got to get it. Then we're going to execute an onside kick, because we do a lot of onside kicks. And then we're going to hit a shot play. And that's our team offense. And so, damn it, when we start the game with our first series and we run our script and we score and we get the 2-point, our guys know when they come to the sideline, hey, we know what to do. We're executing that onside kick, and then boom, they already know what the shot play is going to be, because we've already done it, and we've already done it at full speed. We're not on our 27th offensive play where the coach is going, run it again. Not perfect, run it again. And guess what? If they don't execute, then the session's over. You want to talk about, building toughness, and I'll get into this. It's task specific. So if they're not executing that, damn right, next time they get that opportunity, they're going to do everything in their power. They're going to remember that they didn't execute. Same thing defensive wise. Set it up. Tell your defense, okay, it's 1st and goal from the 10. Game's on the line. You got to get a stop. They get 4 plays. Offense scores on first play. Team D's done. Coach, are you serious? Yeah, dude, we just lost. Guess what? They're pissed. All right. And we've already done group and indie work to know, a lot of what our guys are doing. So I don't get all wrapped up into all this team stuff, especially from a defensive perspective. We'll get into an inside run drill, or we're working on reads with our D-line and linebackers, or maybe our DBs and outside linebackers are working on stuff. That's when we know if our guys know what to do, not in a team time. Because when your scout team's trying to run the opponent's plays, it ain't happening the way you want it to happen. And like I said, you're getting a false sense of security. We may do it coming out from the 5. Maybe it's 1st and 10 from the 5. We want to pin them. They can't get a first down because we want them to punt out of here. Or maybe you want to stop, give them 4 different 3rd down conversion scenarios. There's even times on the practice plan where I'll put in there that the offensive coordinator is going to tell me what scenario we're in, if as me calling the defense, or I tell him. It's just scenario. And he'll say, what is it? I go, 3rd and 12 from the 50. We're going for it. Boom. In a play clock time, he has to know what he's going to run in that amount of time. And our kids are going to know what they're going to run. All right. And this Chip Kelly quote, get rid of that over here. It kind of fits into Thursday, but it kind of fits into everything, right? He kind of had this whole thing and he brought it to the NFL. He wasn't feed the cats, but he was as close to it, away from some of the traditional stuff with Jimmy Radcliffe there. And then, of course, he left and they demoted Jimmy or promoted him out of football. And then, of course, 10 people under the next head strength coach went to the hospital and he got fired. And then they brought in the guy that Tony had the picture of. And so, they've never went back and they haven't won since, at a high level, since those days. But here's what Chip said. The point I'm making is to go through every scenario that happens in a game and practice it. You should not just put the ball down and run a play. And we do that. We put the ball in one spot and we run 25, 30 plays in a team period. That never happens in a game. Football is a game of situations. You have to practice those situations when the game is on the line. Your players better be able to call the play before you call the play. The only play that will work is the one they have confidence in running. Everybody at the end of the game knows the play that we're going to call. You have to practice it. I always tell my defensive guys, we want to play our base defense. If I get thrown out, have a heart attack, I'm yelling at an official on the sideline, you better know this is our call for the week. Like, this is what – call it and run it. You know what you're doing. We know what to do on the last play of the game. We know what to do if we have no timeouts. We practice running the extra point team on or the field goal unit on, when we have a decent kicker, how quickly can we run them off from the sideline, and all those types of things. So on Thursday, we put all that together. We're in shoulder pads, not to bang on each other, but to get our good fits. I don't have a practice schedule that week, and we just roll it through. We have a schedule of situations, and we roll through. And our guys know if we're crisp and we execute, we're going to roll in, and we're going to be done hour 15 or even earlier. We want to keep them fresh, healthy. We finish with some fun trick plays for the week that if we get a shot. We ran one of those right before the half in our semifinal game that took a tie ball game. We ran a reverse pass from about the 40. We scored. We threw it back to our quarterback. We went up 21-14, and then we got the ball right out of half, scored on the second play on an 84-yard run where our guy, our wingback, outrun everybody on their team, even with an angle. And next thing you know, we're up 28-14. But we had practiced that trick play every Thursday for 13 weeks, and our guys knew how to execute it. And we get them the hell off the practice field, and we tell them to go home. Don't be screwing around. We eat a team meal, and then we go home. And then last one here, I think. And then Friday's our sprint day, right? Here's the biggest thing that I'll tell you on this. Quit getting your guys freaking tired in the warm-ups. They've only got so much energy, and they're already geeked up. So if you go out there an hour 15 ahead of time, your guys are going to be wore out. So I never had a name for this until Dan Fichter named it a freestyle warm-up. So, like, our guys go out when they get there, and they do their thing. Quarterbacks will throw, the receivers will catch, the kickers will kick. They put their headphones on, and it's like a freestyle. It's not screwing around. They know, because I'm out there setting up tech stuff and all that we don't screw around. I tell them, no playing 500 for our younger kids. I don't even let our JV kids on the field. Our varsity guys go out, and they get it done. And I think of it like when I show up to a track meet, my 4x1 guys get loose, and they work on their damn handoffs. I don't have to tell them. And that's what I think when I'm doing this. We don't have this rigid warm-up. Then we do everything else inside until there's about 15 minutes on the clock. We take the field. And then we do a quick position warm-up, and then we get into a little bit of team and we kick off. And then at halftime, we bring their ass in. If it's cold, we get them warm. We give them food, drink, things that most coaches that aren't performance coaches would think is soft, and a football player should lay out in the damn ice cold snow and so forth. But that's what we're after there. And then, like I said, our weekend's off. We let the kids sleep in and recover. In my opinion, recovery is more important than bringing them in for film, to lift. I hear people say, well, we assess their injuries. You have a damn cell phone. Literally, you don't have to bring in 30 guys because you're worried about one guy. Trust me, if he's overly injured, he probably wasn't coming in anyway. All right. And with RPR, I can be in contact with them and figure out if this is something we need to get our trainer or whatever with. And then guess what? We use technology. We send stuff over Huddle Messenger. So that's what's over here. And then we communicate everything else as coaches over here on Google Drive. And I've talked about that many times. But our players are off. They know they got Saturday and Sunday to watch football, go have fun, be a kid. And they, like Tony said, they come back Monday much better off because of it. So.
Coach, can you speak about how important Saturday and Sunday off is to your football staff?
Oh, unbelievable. So I've got my main guy's been with me for, this will be his 13th year. My other guy, 12. And then we've got a former player. We only have 4 guys because our school's not big on volunteer coaches and all that stuff. And you know how it is to find how hard it is at the small school. But our families love it because every coach can work at their own pace. It's kind of like remote learning, literally. You know, if I have a coach that likes to get up on Saturday morning and get, you know, his game plan stuff done, then he does it on Saturday morning. Like I've got my D-line coach. He loves to work starting at like 11 at night till like 2 a.m. He likes to be up late when his kids go to bed. That's great. You know, and all weekend we communicate through text or you know, Google Drive, things like that. And we're sharing all that. And then our coaches can be dads. They can be husbands. And we know we're not meeting for hours and hours. And I did a talk on Feed the Coaches where, you know, guys are meeting for 40, 50, 60 hours outside of school on football. And it's just crazy. It's not helping you win. It's destroying your marriage and it's very unhealthy.